Another war. Another famine. Another prayer that seemed unanswered. In moments like these, a painful question echoes in human hearts. Has God abandoned us? Where is God when the world is falling apart? Why so many people feel abandoned by God? We've all felt it at some point, the silence of heaven. You pray, and nothing happens. You ask for healing, and the cancer spreads. You cry for justice, and the wicked grow stronger. You beg for peace, and missiles fall. It's not just personal pain. It's collective heartbreak. The Holocaust, genocides, school shootings, earthquakes wiping out entire towns. And it's not a new question. The writer Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor, once wrote, "Never shall I forget that night. The first night in camp. That turned my life into one long night. Never shall I forget those flames that consumed my faith forever." And who can blame him? Where is God in Auschwitz? In Gaza? In Sudan? The question is not only intellectual. It's deeply emotional. It's not just, does God exist? It's, if he does, why won't he act? Even the Bible asks this question. We're not the first generation to wrestle with this. In fact, the Bible itself is filled with people crying out the very same question. King David in Psalm chapter 13 writes, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" And again in Psalm chapter 22, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Sound familiar? Even Jesus himself, dying on the cross, echoed those words, my God, why have you forsaken me?" This is no small mystery. Even the Son of God experienced it, not because he lacked faith, but because he fully entered into human suffering, even divine silence. The silence of God is not the absence of God. Here's the hard truth. Sometimes, God is silent, but silence is not abandonment. Sometimes, the teacher is silent during the test. Sometimes, love stands still while you learn how to walk through darkness. God's presence is not always dramatic. It's not always thunder or miracles or fire from heaven. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes it's in someone who holds your hand while you cry. Sometimes it's in the strength to get out of bed when everything inside you screams not to. God doesn't always rescue us from suffering, but he enters it with us. The name Jesus was given? Emmanuel. It means God with us. Why doesn't God just fix everything? If God is so powerful and loving, why not just fix it all? Why allow cancer, abuse, heartbreak, injustice? Let's be honest. A world without pain sounds great. But would it still be free? God gave humanity free will. And with that gift came the possibility of love, but also of evil. He could have created robots. He chose to create people. People who could love him freely. But that means we could also turn away. And we have. We polluted the earth. We built empires of greed. We broke families. We chose war. And yet, God doesn't walk away. He still calls. Still sends prophets. Still gives grace. Still waits like the father of the prodigal son. Stories of God's presence in darkness. Saint Teresa of Calcutta served the poorest of the poor. Yet for nearly 50 years, she experienced deep spiritual dryness. She wrote, "There is such terrible darkness within me, as if everything was dead. I feel nothing, no faith, no love, no zeal. Heaven means nothing to me." But she never stopped loving. Never stopped serving. Why? Because faith is not a feeling. It's a choice. There are countless people who walked through darkness and found God there. The cancer patient who smiles and comforts others. The mother who forgives her child's murderer. The missionary who returns to war zones again and again. They did not find answers. They found God. What now? How to recognize God's hidden presence. So what do? First, be honest. God can handle your anger, your doubt, your pain, just like David did, just like Jesus did. Second, look closer. God often comes in quiet forms. A friend who shows up. A stranger's kindness. A moment of peace in chaos. Third, don't walk alone. Faith is not meant to be lived in isolation. Pray with others. Ask questions. Cry with someone. And finally, never stop hoping. Hope is the stubborn belief that darkness doesn't win. That love is stronger than death. That silence is not the end of the story. Has God abandoned humanity? So, has God abandoned humanity? No. But maybe we have abandoned him. We pushed him out of schools, out of public life, out of our decisions. We demand his help, but ignore his voice. And still, he waits. Still, he loves. Still, he knocks on the door of our hearts. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Revelation chapter 3 verse 20. God hasn't left. He's waiting for us to open the door. If you've ever felt like God left you behind, know this. He sees you. He loves you. And he's still here. Speech balloon, tell us in the comments. Have you ever felt abandoned by God? What helped you through? Thumbs up, like, bell, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs hope today.